Hey guys, welcome back. So yesterday we talked about railroads and how they led to a bunch of different things like the increase in industry in Texas, like the meatpacking industry, cotton and lumber industries. Railroads also led to more and more people coming into Texas, which made Texas's population grow, but also made people concentrate around where the railroads were. And those areas became cities. Instead of being rural areas like farmland and ranches, they became cities. And that process is known as urbanization. And so the definition of urbanization is the process of making an area more urban. So not super helpful because it uses the word, part of the word at least, in the definition. And so then we looked up what the word urban's definition was. And it is in relating to or characteristic of a town or city. And so that is the definition for urban, is that it creates a place that becomes a city. And there's many reasons for that happening. For Texas, the main reason was the population left from rural areas and then went to cities. The railroad helped make that happen. So people came into Texas and flooded into Texas because it was a lot easier to get here. And so here's a modern Texas population map. This is where most people are congregated. These redder and orange areas are where our biggest populations are. Places like Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Galveston area, Austin, and San Antonio. Down here towards the Mexican border, Brownsville area, and then over here in the western part of Texas is El Paso. And so those are our main city centers in Texas. This was as of 2010, 10 years ago. Like I said, every 10 years in the last video, we do a census. This 2020 is a census time, so make sure you remind your parental units to do that census. But like I said, every 10 years, the government gets a accurate population count and is able to distribute funds and different programs to make sure that our country is taken care of. And so that is how that's done. And so like I said, this population map of where people live is based on 2010 census, and that's where this map was from. So most people live in these city areas that are the red and orange areas. The darker green they are, it means less people live there. So you can see this whole West Texas area, if you remember from our geography unit at the very beginning of the year, was mostly deserts. That's why very few people live up there, and also in the Panhandle as well. But most people in Texas live in the coastal plains, which is most of this area over here, and that is still accurate today. So here is a population as of 2012. I just said, most of the population lives in this kind of triangle area of the coastal plains. At the top over here is Dallas Fort Worth. Down here is Austin San Antonio, and over here is Houston, which is the, I believe, second largest city in the United States by land area, but population it's in the top 10. And then down here, like I said, the Brownsville area and El Paso are fourth and fifth largest populations in Texas. Our last area, and it actually shows McKinney and Frisco and surrounding areas, is McKinney's was for a long time, and so was Frisco, the fastest growing cities in the United States, not just Texas, but in the whole United States. And so that population, just from when time I moved here, 2002, to now 2020, so about 18 years, the population went from about 50,000 to almost 200,000. So it grew a ton in not very long period of time. And so these are the top 25 fastest growing counties in Texas, all these little pink areas right here. So around the Houston area, a little bit outside of Houston, around the Austin, San Antonio area, and then around DFW as well. So you can see that most of the urban areas, these green areas right here, they're surrounded by the fastest growing areas. People want to be near Dallas and Fort Worth and Austin and San Antonio and Houston, but they don't want to directly be inside of it. And so these suburbs, areas around major cities, urban areas, are growing a ton. And McKinney, like I said, is one of those areas. And so urbanization, like I was saying before, is the amount of people moving from rural areas, country areas, moving into city areas. So some cities, including Dallas and San Antonio, had to improve their railroad system in order to get people to be able to come here. Then they also had to, later on, closer to now, had to improve the roadway system as well, paving roads and introducing streetcars, because without that, people wouldn't have been able to travel around the cities and they would have been really congested. And so now we have highways and roads that allow traffic and people to move in and out of these cities very easily. And that is what urbanization is. So next video, we're going to be talking about the Transcontinental Railroad, a railroad that went from the far east coast all the way stretched across the entire country, about 3,000 miles to the west coast. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.